Hey, everybody. Look on the screen. This is George Floyd, the late George Floyd's 4-year-old niece. Guess what happened? Shot on New Year's Day. Shot on New Year's Day. Oh, and she wasn't the only one that was shot on New Year's Day. We have here Cutie Pie on the screen, Cutie Pie number 2, on a road to recovery. Let's go ahead and look at these 2 clips. You can't sit down, lay down, walk around, drive around Blaq without there being some drama. Danger and death, thieving and theft. It's too much. The babies aren't even safe in the community. Tupac already told you. They said the white man is who I should fear, but it's my own kind doing the killing around here. And 9.999 times it's going to be a chocolate drop, a dangerous, dust buckety chocolate drop, a low-performing male. Let's go ahead and get to the first individual here. This one here, I believe she was shot, I think, in her head. Let's check it out. Fair use.
A toddler's fight for life in the face of tragedy after a holiday celebration turns into chaos.
Yeah, but the good news tonight, she is on track to make a miraculous recovery. But the person who pulled the trigger is still out there. We have an update for you first on the News at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Greg Hurst.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Skurlock. The girl's family believes the shots rang out in the heat of happy moments, New Year's Eve to be exact.
And her uncle shares an update with WREG's Bria Jones.
Go. Hooray! Amen.
Joy after tragedy. The family of 3-year-old Ayanna Morris is counting their blessings after police say she was shot inside her Nutbush home on New Year's Eve.
Just my angel and my pride and joy. It just made me feel good just to know that she's doing okay.
Her uncle, Jamel Morris, says Ayanna was playing on a tablet when celebratory gunfire flew into her home, striking her in the neck.
What's that sound? What it sound like?
Morris says Ayanna hasn't had any surgeries yet, and he's thankful she's playful and alert despite the bullet still in her body.
It got lodged on the right side of her ear, so they can't remove it right now because of the swelling.
While Ayanna is on the mend at Lebaner's Children's Hospital and he helps care for her siblings, he says her mother's sense of security is shaken and she's afraid to return to her home on Vernon Avenue.
Just the trauma. Blood. It's your baby blood. It's hard.
As the family awaits justice, Morris is hoping what happened to Ayanna is enough to make people put their guns down.
Some people need to learn how to use a gun instead of just toting guns, shooting people for no reason. Innocent children. There's somebody's family.
In the medical district, Bria Jones, WREG.
Did you hear him say trauma? Told you. Dusties bring drama. Dusties bring trauma. The financial implication in the hospital bed, medical bills. Mom may have to maybe not go to work. She has to be there for her baby. At least we do have an uncle here. We haven't heard anything about the father. So I'm assuming he's stepping up in place of the father. At least, thank goodness. Because normally when these things happen, you just see a sea of women and maybe a granddad every now and then. So at least the uncle is stepping up here. 3 years old. How the hell do you shoot inside a house? What the hell you got to shoot for anyway? And especially in a residential neighborhood. Dusties bring drama. They bring trauma. The woman don't want to go back to the house. You think? You think she's going to go home and sleep at night? At least LaSalle might be jumping. The financial implications is too much dumb dusties. It's too much dustiness in the nation. Now let's go ahead and get to George Floyd, the late George Floyd, his 4-year-old niece. shot on New Year's Day. Even Trailer Park Charlie, under the floorboards Billy, and that's the lowest of the low in the white community. You're so dangerous and so treacherous in the trailer park, you become under the billboard, under the boards, which means like the floor. Under the floor, Billy. Hillbilly Billy. Why isn't it happening there? It's the culture. It's our culture. Look at those people at the immigration, at the border. You don't see them capping each other, fighting and killing each other. You find some dead because of the trip. When have you seen a lot of them in reports showing, oh, they're coming to America, all of them clamped out down there? You don't see them in those tents fighting with the foil on for the cover, knocking each other out, killing. It's not the culture. They're trying to get to America where we are. Can you imagine if it was the Dusties and Dustinas? They need to put them in those locations. That's where they belong. Can you imagine what it would be? You would be hearing gunfire and fighting and killing all along the trail. You have dead people because of the dangerous trip itself. You know, they find people dead on farms, the immigrants trying to get here. But you don't hear them capping each other, bullets flying, mothers crying up in the tent. Hell no. But you have it here in Blackistan. Why? It's the culture. So, George Floyd's 4-year-old niece shot on New Year's Day. What a way for a child to bring in the new year. And they haven't shown a picture. I'm willing to bet it's a chocolate drop. It's a dusty somewhere. Check it out. Fair use.
First, she stood with her family in the name of racial injustice, and now she's become the victim of violence. The 4-year-old niece of George Floyd was shot on New Year's Day. Right now at 5 o'clock, family members are calling for justice once again. Little Ariana Delano was asleep in her bed, ready to bring in 2022, when a bullet hit her in the stomach.
Her family rushed her to the hospital where she remains tonight on a long road to recovery. All this unfolded at the Park Yellowstone apartment homes just south of Old Spanish Trail near 288. KPRC2's Rowan Belogan is joining us there live now. So, Rowan, I understand that you spoke with her father. How's she doing tonight?
Lauren, Chris, her dad says that she's out of surgery and breathing on her own. Now, inside the apartment complex, along with Ariana, were 4 adults and another child.
My daughter was jumped up and said she had been hit, and I seen the blood bleeding, and I grabbed her.
Derek Delane says his 4-year-old daughter, Ariana, was shot early New Year's Day as she slept in her bed.
Wow.
Delane said he had just come back in the house from lighting fireworks when the bullets went flying.
She wasn't out there, but like the grown folks was outside. They was in the house, sleep, getting ready for bed.
The 4-year-old, George Floyd's niece. Floyd grew up and was laid to rest in Houston. His arrest and death led to nationwide protests that called for an end to racial inequality and police brutality. The 4-year-old was hit in her bedroom in the 3300 block of Yellowstone Boulevard in Houston's South Side.
My girl had to jump in the car and rush her to the hospital.
Delane says she underwent surgery for a punctured lung and liver and several broken ribs. Houston police say they don't have a suspect description or motive for the shooting.
She healing very fast. Last time I checked on her, she was breathing on her own. She was doing real great.
Now, anyone with information should call HPD or Crime Stoppers. Live from Houston.
What was she doing? Sleeping in her bed. Sleeping in her bed. Shot in the stomach. Did you hear the injuries? This is in Houston. Take a wild guess. I'm going to go ahead and suspect chocolate drop, dust bucket, poverty D. Now the father has to deal with a child with medical issues. And we don't even know how it's going to turn out. It could be, I'm hoping not, but you never know. Things like this here could lead to something down the line, medical issues. living in the BC. A simple thing as sleeping in your bed. And in Houston, oh wow, Houston is well, it's hot. They're not as bad as Chicago, at least I don't think, but it's always something going on in Houston. Always. Always. Driving down the freeway. This is what happens. People who do things like this here, low performing men, the seed of poverty, D. And some of them will always talk almost, oh man, that was George Floyd niece that you shot and killed. And guess what? They'll keep it a secret, and so will the mammies. Well, she ain't dead, she surviving, things do happen. And she'll go, his mammy, the girlfriend, baby mammy, they'll cover for them. This is why no one wants to just come in building for the BC. It's not worth it. This is the only group that, I mean, you basically have young Black men, and even some older ones too. We got some seasoned dust buckets around. They just had one, I couldn't believe, 73. He's killed his common law wife. Dang. 73. Dust bucket. But this is why no one wants to build in the Black community. It's just not safe. And the main problem that you have, which people don't want to face, Black women are pulling out gas. We have some Dustinas that act up. They're pretty much holding it down for the Dusties. They're providing, sometimes using state funding, a place for the dust bucket to lay his old crusty ass head. Feeding him off the food stamp card that they're getting from the state, the EBT system. WIC and all of that. We're paying for it. Mammies, Dusties, and Dustins, I wish we could just put them all in those cages. You can take the immigrants out and put them in those cages. Don't feed them, just let them go for it. We can just start all over. 4-year-old shot on New Year's Day. So I could be wrong, but nah, given in the BC, we pretty much know. Little TT, little Jamal and Tyrone, they're quick to pull a cat. And so stupid, missing their target, shooting, killing innocent people. Just shooting indiscriminately. And then when they catch him, he wasn't doing nothing. She's right, though. He wasn't doing anything constructive. So, New Year's Day, a 4-year-old and a 3-year-old in the BC, beautiful babies. Happy New Year. Welcome to the BC, the Black community, where poverty, ignorance, and tragedy awaits thee. Only this community. Thanks for listening. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, and share them out. People, stay safe. Try and stay dust free. Don't even have it around you. These dustinas, these dust buckets, they are hazardous to your health. They bring death. I'm out.